All right, ladies and gentlemen, in this video, we are going to introduce conic sections. Now, I am not going to do everything completely mathematical. Some things I am just going to draw on some of your logic and reasoning skills. So not everything in this video is going to be perfectly mathematical. This is an introduction to mainly the shapes and to be able to match the graphs and maybe find something like a center, domain, and range. All right, let's start with what is most familiar. If we look at these shapes over here, this is called a hyperbola. This is a circle, a parabola, and an ellipse. The one of these you are the most familiar with is C, the parabola. Now, we have graphed parabolas before. If we look at our choices for equations, we know that when we had one squared variable, this one is a lot like a parabola we have graphed before. So if I look for, you notice this has two squared variables, x squared and y squared, so that's not a parabola because we didn't graph anything like that before. Each one of these here, this third one and this fourth one, have two squared variables, x's and y's. There's only one that has one squared variable, and we've graphed things that look like this before. So this right here is choice C. This is our parabola. All right, so now where is our vertex? Well, our vertex is at 0, 0. Does it have any lines of symmetry? Yes. The y-axis is our line of symmetry. What would be the domain and range? So let's write vertex is a 0, 0. All right, and our axis of symmetry, or our only line of symmetry, AOS, that's what we wrote before. It is the line x equals 0, which is the y-axis. Now, domain. I can put any number in for x and get an answer. So domain is all real numbers, so x is an element of the reals, all real numbers. Okay, but the range. Okay, we're not going to get any y values below 0, so we're going to say y is greater than or equal to 0. So now this one is checked off, so we don't need to choose C anymore. Let's pick something it's maybe a little more familiar. How about the circle? Now, what do we know about a circle? Well, our center is at 0, 0. In fact, the center of all of these are at 0, 0. I did that on purpose. Okay? You notice if you count up, I'm counting up 4 squares, over 4, down 4, and to the left 4. So everything is centered here. So we have the same distance from the center. Well, this is totally non-conventional for identification. But look at this one here. Our x squared, same. Y squared, same coefficient, equals a perfect square. This is a perfect square, this is a perfect square, this is a perfect square. Well, you might say the same with this, but you notice there's only one graph of all of these that has a minus, as in one of the variables is negative, and there's only one that separates out. All the others could be thought of as two halves connecting together to close the figure. You could kind of think of it like that. So the circle is B, and I kind of gave it away. This is A, the hyperbola, and That makes this the ellipse, choice D. Now we're going to briefly go over, since I said we were going to do the circle next, let's do the circle. Our center, 0, 0. So center is at 0, 0. The domain, well, my x's only go from -4 to +4. There are no x values outside. So, -4 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to +4. And the range is going to be the same because it doesn't go above 4 or below -4. So the range, -4 less than or equal to x less than or equal to +4. Okay, so that is our circle. All right, how about we look at the ellipse? It's the other closed figure. All right, you notice all our x values are in here. And if I were to count this, my center first of all is at 0, 0. I go left 8 units. I go right 8 units. So my center is at 0, 0. Okay, domain, -8 less than or equal to x less than or equal to +8. So it's all between 8 and -8. Now the range, if you were to count, you could go up 4 units and down 4 units. So the range is going to be between -4 is less than or equal to, and you know what, I put an x down here. This needs to be the letter y. So let me erase that. I know I'm getting a little forgetful in my old age. Sorry about that. Make that a y. Okay, less than or equal to y, less than or equal to 4. Because range has to do with y values, not x values. Oh, it's been a long day. Now, if you notice something, take a look at the difference between our circle and the ellipse. Circle, no matter what way you draw, you've got lines of symmetry if you go through the center. But with the ellipse, we only have a vertical line of symmetry and a horizontal line of symmetry. Okay? I can't draw others that would be totally symmetrical, and you'd be able to fold it and have every point have a match. So only vertical and horizontal. Same with the hyperbola, which is choice A. It only has vertical and horizontal symmetry. Now, the actual center is between this, even though it's not a point on it. It's 0, 0. So, center is 0, 0. Okay, now, my x values, this would keep going down and this would keep going up. So x is all real numbers. So domain, x, element of the reals, all real numbers. However, there are no y values here between +2 and -2. So that's kind of a little wild. We can say that for the range, all right, it is y is greater than or equal to +2, and I'll show you a later time how to do this in an interval notation, which might be a little easier. and y is less than or equal to -2. Okay, this gives you an introduction. So just to remind you of our names, hyperbola, think of it as like hyperbola, but don't pronounce it that way, hyperbola, and circle, which you're familiar with, parabola, you're familiar with, and the name of D, ellipse. All right, enjoy these. Have a great time with them.